right. Hello, everybody, and welcome. As you guys are coming in, and I know a lot of you have gotten into a habit of watching these recordings, and I get lots of emails the following day or days. So if you're watching the recording here later on tonight or whatever, welcome as well. So we have today a friend of mine and a really good author, by the way. And a super successful real estate agent, and the guy who probably knows more about real estate tech, and not real estate tech, but gadgetry tech than anybody I know. Brandon Doyle, welcome to the big show. Ba-da-dum, da-da-dum.
Thanks.
So let's go way back to the beginning, Brandon. Do you happen to recall, I do this with all of our guests and they're never prepared for it because they don't know. Do you happen to recall how we met?
Yes, at an Inman event. I'm not sure if it was San Francisco or if it was New York, but probably in a bar setting, I would say.
I think
and then we found out that I play paintball and your son plays paintball, so that's really cool.
Yep. And we were in New York, and we were in the bar that's across the street. I can never remember the name of the Ruby or over there in New York at an Inman is where we met, and then found out that we each had books, and we did a book exchange, and that's been years ago, and now because of 2020, it seems like decades ago. So that is how we first met. So you are the author, my friend, of 3 books. Correct. I think, at least I know about 3. There are more than that.
I guess if you include a workbook, then it'd be 4, but
that's right. There is the
let's go with 3.
We'll go with 3. So show, if you would, real quick, and everybody, this is a little bit different format than we normally have. So unmute yourself and jump in with questions as you have them. That's the first one you wrote, and you wrote that with with the other 2 guys, Nick Dreyer and
I think there's a good photo of them here. There we go. These guys.
There you go. So you wrote that one, and that's M3 is mindset. I don't have the book in front of me, and I've read it.
Mindset, method, and metrics.
Metrics. I was like, what's
I was mostly the metrics guy,
mindset,
the numbers guy.
You are definitely the metrics guy. I would get that.
Yes.
Yeah, because then, then we took a little segue, and we went into the second book, which was the Real Estate Agent's Playbook, right?
Yep.
Your X's and O's. The real estate agent marketing, was that it? The marketing playbook?
Real estate marketing playbook, yeah.
There you go. And for those of you who struggle with marketing and how to get return and how to retarget, use pixels and all that kind of stuff, Brandon has like beta tested and A/B tested and like done everything that I've ever heard of. And then you came out with the most recent book, which gets into KPIs, with most people say, what are KPIs? Success rate marketing. And KPIs are like a very big thing if you want to track what's working and not working, and that's key performance indicators. And so these 3 books you've written over the course of, geez, how long has it been? Like 8 years? 10 years?
Oh gosh, it would be 5 years for the first one, and then I think 2 years for the playbook, maybe 3 now. And then success rate will be 1 year, I think, in like 3 days now. So yeah.
And this has been a great year for new authors, especially like you and I, right? Who go on the road a lot. Typically, we typically find ourselves at events together or on stages together, or not together, but at least going back and forth. And then, obviously you a lot of times the promoters have you bring your books, and wow, we don't get to go anywhere except for Zooms this year, right?
Yeah, about that. So now I got a few cases in the closet over there, but I appreciate your support.
I actually did buy, so I actually bought I bought a case of the success rate and a case of M3 about 3 months ago to distribute to our team, and did like a book club with just our internal team. Everybody reading it and learning from it. I had like 1 copy that I had dog-eared and highlighted and marked up, and then it was really brutal for everybody else to read because of that. So everybody got their own copy. We actually just we just finished M3 last week, and we're moving into success rate next week. So, and we are now on Facebook Live. I just got the notification, so I'm going to go find us real quick, and I'm going to share that Facebook Live. There we go. So let's talk a little bit about it. What do you consider your strength? Because you do all these things, man. You're so like into the smart houses, and you're so into writing, and you run a killer real estate team. Like, let's talk about your real estate team real quick. Just like, what's this year been like for you?
Yeah, so actually pretty interesting. The end of last year, we decided to go a totally different direction, and now it's just my father and I and our assistant. So we cut our expenses drastically, and our sales have stayed about the same. So we're really looking at that net number, and you know, we decided to go small instead of go big, and it worked out well for us.
So that's interesting, because everyone right now is trying to grow a team. Everybody right now is trying to get as many people as they can get and recruit like crazy. And everyone's all about teams or even mega teams, right? And you guys had been not a small team for a little bit. I mean, you guys had grown beyond like that 1 or 2, 3 person team.
We had about 6 people at our peak there. But, you know, what I really started to notice when I was looking at the numbers is that to be really profitable as a team leader, you need to have at least 10, 15 people. And then you're, you know, managing and not selling. And I just decided I enjoy selling so much that I'd rather keep working with people and day to day and get right back into it. And so that's the route I ended up going. And really happy I did that.
And that's interesting, because now we're in a weird year. And you know, it'd be great if you had Nostradamus-like abilities, but hindsight. But you cut everybody at the end of last year, and now here we are in October in the 4th quarter, and with far less people. So you've done about the same amount of transactions, which then probably equates into actual more profit.
Oh, for sure. So I cut about 60,000 in expense for the year, and then I'd say our overall gross commission is around the same. So my net has certainly gone up, which is nice. And there's less overhead each month, so less stress. And I'd say I'm probably working less hours now, so that makes my hourly rate, if you think about it that way, that's gotten up significantly, which has allowed me to work on other projects as well that I'm just passionate about. So as you touched on before, I enjoy reading and writing books. And you know, before I was traveling for conferences. Now I'm doing a lot of these Zoom meetings, but there's less time in the airport, so that's nice.
This is true. This is true.
And then I do it a lot with smart home technology.
You're newly married, so the wife probably appreciates the little hiatus from travel this year.
Yeah, I think I had about hit my cap of what I could do without her getting too mad. I was doing about 20 conferences a year, and that was about it. So yeah, no, she's working full time from home now. Her company has no signs of going back into the office anytime soon. So the jig is up. She knows that I sleep in and work the real estate hours. That's been entertaining. But yeah, we share an office here. She went out so I could have the space to myself for this meeting. But otherwise, yeah, she'd be sitting to my left. So we kind of set up this nice new office space. It's been working out pretty well. The dogs like it. They get to hang out with us all day.
My wife loves your dogs. So she loves following your dogs on social media. Everybody, if you haven't looked in the chat, Brandon has put a link to his Amazon page that the 3 books are on. So go check those out. We're going to dive into each one of them real quick. And I'm going to ask you to give me like a 5-minute, no, it's a little rough, but or 3-minute, but something, just a little breakdown of like, hey, this is what this book is about, and the strengths and why we wrote it, what we focused on, and what agents, because I know you've had lots of like, I mean, the NAR sells your books, dude. The NAR, you know what they do with my books? Nothing. Just so you know, nothing. The NAR does nothing with my stuff. But NAR, like the state associations, national association, everybody, Brad Inman, everybody's got your books and is hawking them because they love them. So if you can just add what you've learned, because people buy them, so it's money. They're good books. I buy them by the cases, apparently. If you could just give your, like, why you wrote the first one and what came out of it, what you heard and what agents liked and how that segued about the second one and the third one. Let's just do a little bit of talk on each one of that. And then guys and gals, if you have questions, just unmute yourself and try to like jump in and just interrupt us real quick. So we'll handle it. So you're not trying to time it correctly. See, we can't see any of you because you're all scaredy chicken, you know what? And there's no screens up. You're all blacked out. First one. tell me how that came to being, what you wrote, why you wrote it, how it was
Yeah.
writing it, people said about it. M3.
Yep. So my co-author Nick Dreyer and I were out in San Francisco for Inman, and we were enjoying the conference, but over cocktails in the evening said, you know what? The stuff that people are saying on stage is really more for coastal areas. We're in a Midwest market. There's a lot of luxury brokers, and a lot of people were talking about things in theory, and we wanted more practical knowledge, that I can apply to my job right away. So we had a couple cocktails, and we decided that we should write a book, and just talk to people out nationwide, ask them what they're doing in their business, and kind of distill that down, and kind of what we've learned from our travels. And so we get back to Minnesota, and by then Nick had already moved on to something else, and I was like, no, I was serious, we're going to do this. And so I started a Kickstarter campaign, and we actually raised $5,000, which is in my mind what I thought it took to write a book. It's like 18,000, by the way, in case you're curious. So we had that money, and we're like, all right, here we go. And at the time, the book was going to be called Going Beyond Your Sphere. And so what can you do to market beyond just the people kind of grow your business that way. And one of the people that donated to the Kickstarter campaign was Marshall Saunders, who was the previous co-owner of the brokerage I work at. And we said, you know what, this would be great. Let's bring him in on it. So that's where we got our third author. And we worked with a consultant to kind of put all of our ideas together, because we each came with like hundreds of pages of notes of just, random thoughts here and there, and a lot of it overlapping and some of it not at all. And so we kind of organized it that way. We came up with the structure of mindset, method, and metrics. It's first, thinking about your business like a business, running it accordingly. And then, getting in the mindset of that I am an owner, and that I need to each day get up and run a business. I'm not an employee. And so holding yourself accountable, and kind of like some of those mindset type things is kind of where we started. And then methods would be like, okay, how do I do real estate? Like what is in the day-to-day? So a lot of marketing type tactics there. We've highlighted some speakers that we had met, and some other friends from across the nation, and with some case studies and examples and stuff. And then metrics is what I really brought to the table, and that was measuring your marketing. It's looking at your key performance indicators. I actually came up with a success rate model, which was then a spin-off book later. So yeah, that's mindset, method, and metrics, and it's actually been a bestseller since it launched. It's most people buy it on Audible, to be honest. Like I probably get about 20 to 30 people that buy it a week on Audible. So that's kind of cool.
Who narrated it for you, by the way? One of you guys narrated, or did you hire a speaker?
Yeah, so that Marshall is really into that. He has his own like podcasting studio, and yeah, he narrated it. And then actually for my next two books, I had him narrate as well. But of course, the playbook, almost nobody downloads on an Audible, because it's really designed as a guide, which is fine. It didn't cost much money to have him do it, so it's worth it, whatever. And then success rate, I'd say it's a split evenly between Audible, Kindle, and paperback. The only way to get the hardcover copy is at events, and events don't happen right now. So
I didn't even know you had paperback. Like I have the hardcovers.
Yeah, this is the limited right here. There's only, I think I printed 5,000. Most of them are sitting in that closet. I mean, I had a really good initial order from all the people that are excited, and then a launch party. But I had ordered enough to get through an entire year of speaking, because I just knew how many sell at each event. That's what I
that equaled an entire year. That equaled 4 events.
Yeah. I'd say I sell about 100 per event between the 3 books. Usually people buy all 3. So yeah, it's not even, you don't make any money, by the way. If anyone was curious, don't write books to get rich, just sell real estate.
Yeah, this is definitely true. This is true. All right, so how about playbook? What were some of the tidbits that came out of playbook? And people are like, dude, this is a marketing playbook. Because I'm looking at some of the names that are on this one, and I'm looking over here at my Facebook, but thing's off right now. I'm looking at a few different names of people. You guys are usual suspects on these. I know that some of you struggle with marketing. Like what works and how should I do it? And like, check this out. It's an actual playbook. Yeah. Right. So what are some of the hot tips that are in the playbook that people have said to you, I really like this chapter. I really like this section. I was able to apply it immediately.
Yeah. So the playbook really is a lot of the articles that I've written for Inman, and parts of the first book, and then notes that weren't used in that book, and then some additional content. My original plan for the book was to have a different person write each chapter or do a case study for each. And so I had all these friends from across the nation that wanted to be a part of it. And you know how it is getting them to do anything. So and the deadlines, and they would come and they would go. And eventually I just had to write the book myself. So that's what I did. But each chapter focuses on a different marketing method and talks about the best practices. And then at the end of the chapter, I just give some recommendations of vendors that like I know of that I've vetted and I think are good. And then I've included like some benchmarks. So you have like an idea of what it would cost to say to geofarming, you know, if you're going to start mailing out postcards, or if you want to get into online lead gen, like there's a chapter just for that. So that, yeah, that's been really popular and it's like super cheap on Amazon. So yeah. Print on demand, which is key. I don't have any of these sitting in the closet. They're all
see, I actually only do print on demand with Amazon.
Yeah, that's smart. That is hardcover is so nice though. It feels good in the hands.
It is. I am jealous because
printing cost is quite high on this.
Yeah. Okay, and then success rate, which is the one that I'm starting with a group of people again next week, and we're going to dive into. And I see a couple of those people who are on this Zoom. That was really like, that really went into the, like you talked about each step along the way and the KPIs and what to track and what to pay attention to. You also gave some real tangible, like, hey, for instance, ad roll. Like I found the best kind of retargeting that's out there, and this is how much per versus somebody else, and this is why I love it. Like all those real, I thought success rate was your most tangible book with like very specifics that you've done so far. Do you agree? Or it just seemed like there's like really super solid specific, like it wasn't like here's a great play, here's how you run it. It was like here's how you walk and then here's how you run. It's like so laid out, I thought.
Yeah, so a lot of it is just coming from the first book. I had a lot of people outside of real estate that read it and they said, you know, this would be really applicable to my business as well. And so I kind of came at it from the approach of like, I'm a small business owner. I want to market. I need to understand my customer's journey, and then just kind of walking through each step and identifying what the key performance indicators are. And then like some recommendations to tweak things, you know, to boost those numbers, and then overall increase your bottom line. And so it really is, I call it the success rate model. It's like a sales funnel and just working your way through that, and a lot of measurement that goes along with that.
You've tried just about every marketing avenue out there, I think, to some degree over the years, right? I mean, you've done pay-per-click, you've done retargeting with pixels, you've done I think you've done Zillow, if I'm not mistaken. You've done Realtor.com, you've done Nextdoor. Right?
I was early on that one. I think it was too early.
Yeah, maybe people actually go there finally, right? Because I remember when we had started it, you're like, yeah, I did that. It was dog shit. Like you've tried so many different things. What are you currently doing? What are you currently using to do some lead gen for our viewers? You know, cut the corner just a little bit for them today. And it changes, guys and gals. I mean, things do come and go, and they're better or worse and cheaper and more expensive. What are you currently doing for lead gen right now?
Yeah, that's a really good point. So we were really big in Zillow, and then, you know, they've changed a lot of things. And in our market, it just wasn't working for us anymore. We weren't seeing the return on investment. So we did move away from that. It's been about a year now, so I don't know if things have changed and gotten better. But we do a lot of client events, honestly. We'll do 3 big events a year. And we invite past clients, friends, family, people from the community, referral partners. It's pretty open, so that it's compliant and everything. Those are really impactful. And then we do a newsletter, e-newsletter that's custom, instead of like being the same junk that everyone else sends. We really try to find things that people might think are valuable within our community. So a lot of community highlights. I do the smart home tech thing, which people seem to like. To answer your question,
talk a little bit about that, would you? Talk about the smart home tech, because that's something you've really been into lately. And I just watch your stuff and I'm like, dude, my house is so stupid. Like, I mean, the stuff that you have going on in your house is ridiculous. But what do you mean by that? Smart home tech. Talk to something about that.
Yeah, for sure. So about 2 years ago, I would say I started, I've been writing for Realtor Magazine and for Inman News for, I think, 6-7 years now. But the past 2 years, I've really focused in more on smart home technology. And then just about a year and a month ago, a friend and I started a YouTube channel, Home Tech Decisions.
By the way, what's that? Everybody check this out. You need to go to subscribe to this one. I subscribed a couple of days ago, and you definitely need to go subscribe here. So what's the thing to go? You go to YouTube, everybody, and subscribe. Do me that one.
Yeah, so I dropped the link in the chat there, but it's
in the
Home
chat.
Tech Decisions on YouTube. And so twice a week, we'll put out new content about smart home technology. And I haven't even announced this yet. I was actually just selected as a judge for CES 2021, so that'll be fun.
Nice. Is
that my content?
Is that a Vegas trip?
They said you are knowledgeable enough with smart home technology that you can judge the products. So that's really flattering, because last year was my first year out at CES. Actually, I went as media, and that was an incredible experience. But yeah, so I've got every week I do something on Inman. It's on Fridays about smart home tech. And it's about 2 to 3 weeks behind the YouTube channel, but there's an article that goes with the video for those that would prefer to read as to just watching it. But the channel is doing well. It's been a lot of fun. Been testing tons of different products, probably over 100 by now. Developing relationships with these vendors and kind of learning about what's different and where the trends are. It's been a lot of fun. I'm actually working on a course right now with another guy too for smart home tech, and trying to build out like a certification for that. So,
and you even do that in your marketplace. You're like, hey, everybody who's out there, homeowners, if you want to try some stuff out, hit me up. I want to do some tests. Who wants in? And so you have like just the community of. But you're in the Midwest, by the way. You're in Minnesota, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So you have this.
Yeah, so in addition to including the content in our newsletter, which is really engaging, our open rate's pretty high on that, and I've noticed a lot of people are watching it. What people want to know is like, what thermostat should I get, or what doorbell should I put? Is Ring good, or what they're worried about security risks and stuff. And so, kind of being the guy that knows, and it's housing related, so it's a good segue into staying top of mind for real estate. We also do similar things with like neighborhoods and new construction and local businesses. Is anything community oriented, if we can create content around that and share it with the people we know, and then they share that and they kind of think of us as the experts. And this has actually landed us some media appearances as well. We've been on the local news talking about trends in real estate and smart home tech, and it's been good.
Cool. Jeff Moss has a question. He wrote, what are the best marketing methods that are generating the highest ROI right now? And if you guys, it's really interesting if you read the books, when he talks about ROI and how to track it, and really dialing it down, it really brings a different level to being a business owner and understanding what's working, what's not. But without getting too specific in what all of that means, especially like SWOT and stuff, or SWOT. What do you think right now is the best ROI that an agent could be doing?
I mean, it's going to sound lame, but just your database. There's a lot of people that aren't even getting all the deals that they could out of their database. When I started using first.io, they have like a tool in there that actually shows you the deals that you've missed. And that was very eye-opening. It's like, oh, geez. And so really focusing on those relationships, creating a really great customer experience that people are going to talk about, and then you'll get referrals from that. Beyond that, I would say having a strong online presence. So reviews on all the major websites, get that Google page going. We get a lot of our business that people are just looking, Maple Grove Real Estate, Maple Grove Realtor. So organic search. Otherwise, if I were to keep going down the list, I would say pay-per-click is probably the next, just because it's easy to scale up or down depending on what your budget is and what your appetite is to follow up with leads.
Okay, cool. That's a good 3. Interesting that you brought up first. As soon as you said your database, and I was like, oh, I think Brandon did those first interviews that we all did way back when in that New York shoot. And you were one of the very first people using First, actually, even before they launched. I swear you must have been beta testing or something, because you were like well ahead of the curve with the rest of us. How's that what is pay-per-click? Not
pay-per-click, yeah, PPC.
Pay-per-click, pay-per-click, PPC, not pay-per-clip.
So pay-per-click is like any online, like a website that you're paying for. So Boomtown, Commissions Inc., Firepoint, Sierra Interactive, the list goes on. The concept is pretty much the same. They're gonna run ads for you on Google. It's gonna get people to click on it. They're gonna see pretty houses through your IDX feed, and then they'll sign up to get notifications, and then you'll hopefully get their email and phone number, and then it's your job to get them on the phone, get them to respond, and then hopefully show them some houses and convert them into sales. The cash conversion cycle, though, is very long, so just keep that in mind, that you could have a lead that registers today, but they don't move for 18 months. So if you want something that's a quicker turn, your portals are going to be where you want to spend your money. Zillow, Realtor.com. Just prepare to pay more. It's, those people usually buy in a month to 3 months. So
$800 a lead, not $8 a lead.
Yeah, exactly. I think we were up to around 800 at the highest, which for you guys, your average price point is a little bit higher than ours. So that still makes sense to do. But over here, my average sales price is like $275,000. So it's a little tougher pill to swallow. Paying for
We've always said that. Like, I get the exact same amount of leads as you get for based on a dollar spend, but how many does it take for you? And you guys these guys are not actually in Orange County, this particular association we're talking to. Some of them are,
okay,
but they're a little bit more inland, so I'm gonna guess it's like 650. Would probably be the average, which is still double to triple your numbers, so that still works, right?
I'll never forget presenting it. I forget where we were in California, and I had an analogy a real world analogy, and I was using an example of a sale that was $250,000, and someone raised their hand, and they're like, "Oh, buddy, you might want to add a 0. This is whatever county." And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, 2.5 million then. The concept is the same." So that was entertaining.
All right. So 3 books, you've been doing the tech thing. You've got the YouTube channel going. Let's go back to your team. You guys, just the 2 of you now, you and your pops, you guys do a fair amount of business. You guys are doing what? Probably
so around 70 deals a year.
70 deals a year. Yeah.
Our market is about 20 million. So, probably $500,000 producers between the 2 of us.
That's a
not bad,
Anybody in the Midwest has to play the unit game. You just got to play the unit game in the Midwest, not the volume game.
We don't want to play the unit game out here.
But if you got 60, 70 units, just a father-son team, right? Or if there was a mother-daughter team, or if it was just a 2 friends team, that's a with 1 assistant. That's a huge amount of business that I think most people on this are probably not hitting those numbers who are watching here right now. So what do you think is driving that? Yes, you use the database, you use First, you do some advertising, you follow your own advice, you're still finding time to write and record, and you write for several people and have a YouTube channel. So how are you squeezing it all in? And, you know, that's such a big number for so many people. Like, where are you getting most of your business, I guess? Database, obviously, but I guess how do you keep in touch with them? Are you using anything like a call action? Are you using, are you just relying on a nurture system that's built into your CRM? Like what, you know, you got the newsletter, right? But I mean, that's a lot of business that you got to be doing more to stay in front of people, I would think.
Yeah, so you got a few different questions in there, but I would say
just in that general
yeah,
realm.
that's all good.
How the hell do you do 70 deals, dude? That's the question. How the hell do you do 70 deals?
What I find is that a lot of agents get distracted and they're always, you know, like, I need to be doing this or that, and some of these things just don't equate to money. And so I really boil it down to like, what do I need to focus on, and like, let's just hit those objectives and move on. And so I believe in the contact system where you have 40 contacts equals one sale. I believe, you know, Tom Ferry uses that. And a lot of other coaches do as well. We use Sisu to track our numbers. So every day I go in and put in like how many conversations I had. And so that personally helps me stay accountable. But a lot of it is just, you know, being out there, checking in on people. Like right now is a great time because people feel lonely and isolated. And so if you pick up the phone and call them, or send a direct message on Facebook, whatever medium you feel most comfortable with, and just check in and see how they're doing, that goes quite far. So really focusing on those relationships. You had asked how I follow up with people. So we have that e-newsletter, and then for the older folks, I got a physical mailer that we've been doing for pretty much ever. It is pretty terrible, to be honest. It's a generic whatever thing. It's from Welcome Home. My dad was using it when I got in the business, and at one point we stopped using it, and then we like switched to something else, and some older people were like, "Wow, are you not in business anymore? You don't get your newsletter
magazine
thing
back, right?"
Yeah, so I was like, all right, whatever. I mean, honestly, it costs like nothing. It's like $30 a month for the things that get mailed to us, and then my assistant stamps them and puts the addresses on. We probably spend like a couple $100 a month on stamps, which is like nothing. You can do that for 10 years and get one sale, and it's still worth it, you know, like, you know, mail to these people forever. So yeah, we do that, and then we do the events. So for us, like really having those personal connections is huge. Whether it's like in person, just a phone call, but the events are a good way to get in front of a lot of people very efficiently.
Yeah, let's go back to that. Assuming you can have events again soon, we're big fans of events too, right? And so, curious, you're doing 3. What were you doing in a perfect world? COVID doesn't happen, although I'm not sure that's perfect, to be honest. Like, this is by far our best year ever. So I don't know. I guess in a perfect world for other things, you're making more money and can't go anywhere to spend it. Not so bad. But what were your events? Let me see. Can somebody find? Oh, I got control. Somebody give me admin. Sweet. I muted her.
You have the power.
I have the power. Watch out.
Take that, Barbara.
What 3 events were you going to do had you been allowed?
Yeah, no, we were able to do 1 out of 3, and you know that ain't bad. So we were able to do our boat cruise. We're in Minnesota, so Lake Minnetonka, and we do a tour.
Land of 10,000 lakes. Is that you?
Was that 10,000?
Yeah, it's like 10,000 lakes. Is that
10,000? It's really like 12,000 and something. But yeah, we have a lot of lakes. You have an ocean, we have lakes. It's all good.
There you go.
So we do this boat tour, and the captain will talk about like the home. So it's real estate related kind of, but really we just have food and drinks and stuff, and it's an excuse. And then the next day, you know, those people go back to their office and they rave about it, and we get referrals every time. We get like within a day we'll have someone, oh yeah, John in my office is buying a house. He's gonna call you. No, thanks again for the invite to that boat cruise. That was a lot of fun. So that's big, but then we also try to diversify and segment our database a little bit, knowing that like we have a very diverse group of clients and different tastes. So not everyone is a family. So for some of those people, you know, their pets are their children. And so we had a happy hour that was a dog friendly happy hour. And I did like just a costume contest. And then all the other people that were at the bar saw all the dogs dressed up and like, what is going on? And like, oh yeah, Brandon's holding a costume contest. And you know, like I think the lender paid for the prizes, so it was like super easy. And maybe spent like $500 on food and drinks for the event, and got sales out of that. But so we do that, and then in the fall, and I'm really disappointed this one got canceled. We do an apple orchard, and we do family photos there, which has been great. But for some reason, they canceled on us this year, despite it being open and it's outdoors. But you know, throw logic out the door with this COVID stuff, and here we are. So that one got canceled, and they canceled on us like 2 weeks before, so I'm pretty upset about that.
But so that would be for you guys who are watching this. That'd be like if you could hook something up in like a Oakland area that they could go to, right? I think it's called Oakland.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So focus on
go
like
and people would come and
photos.
pick some apples and take some family photos and get some cider and just have an afternoon out in the fall, right? Was kind of the
That is exactly what it's all about. We've done sporting events in the past too, but like thing is like people go to sporting events all the time, and so like they're not as impacted by that. And what we found is that if I want to invite everyone, well, then I have to get cheaper tickets. And you know, some people go to games a lot and they're like, oh, these tickets suck, whatever. It's not as fun for them. And then we've done before where we did like a suite, but then you know you're limited on who you can invite, and so it's kind of like invite our A clients, which is people that consistently give us business. So we segment our database that way based on like how often they give us referrals and that type of thing. But so like those really good clients, we would bring them to a suite. And I did like Minnesota Wild, and it was $220 a person, which is, you know, not cheap by any means. We had 2 people not show up, and I was like, damn, that's $440 just down the drain. And then, of course, other people that other clients saw it on Facebook, and then they're mad that they didn't get invited. So I can just stop doing that. It's not worth it. Like I'd rather do like a one-off event and invite like a couple. So we'll like, my wife likes to cook, so we'll have people over for dinner as well, you know, 2 couples at a time. So it's not some mix and match a little bit. We have fun with that. And then I'm big into craft beer. So I do beer tastings, and that's pretty fun. You guys have some pretty good beer out in your area. So
there's some pretty good breweries
enjoy
around here.
getting like some Russian River whenever I can, or
How did you decide who goes on the boat? Because the orchard wide open, that's easy, but the boat's kind of limited. There's only so many.
It's a big boat, really big boat. And we had a limited capacity this year, but it was still, we had like 40 people. The most we've had was over 100. So it's a big boat. Lake Minnetonka is pretty big too. So I kind of an idea there. But yeah, just we did Eventbrite, and then it's a good way to like update your contact info too. You know, people change their emails or whatever.
Yeah,
and so it's kind of an excuse like register, and then I'm like, oh look, Dan Smith. It's a different email now, and I can update it. So that's helpful. That's helpful.
For free, if it's a free event, it's a free service from Eventbrite. And they had
so we sent it to private though, because I actually had people I had no idea who they were show up to stuff.
Yeah, but you do it private, like, but even if it's private, it's still free as long as you're not.
Yeah, say it's free, and then like anyone with the link can sign up. And I encourage people to share the stuff as well. So what I want is like a past client to bring their best friends or their coworkers, and then they have this incredible evening, and now that person is going to be a client of mine in the future, because you know they're like, whoa, my agent gave me a Cutco knife, you know, like I haven't heard from them since, and here this guy is like wining and dining them, and you know, these fun experiences. So like this year, I think it was our 4th or 5th year doing the boat cruise, and I'd done it with other groups in the past. So like I'm kind of over it, but like the people that are going on the boat, it's like their first time and they're always just blown away by the experience. So I'm just going to keep doing it and pretend that I'm really interested in the
especially, I mean,
houses.
with the amount of business you guys are doing, I mean, you can fill a boat with just that year's clients. Forget past clients and forget friends if you got 100%.
Yeah, well, so a lot of our business, we also represent a builder. So that's a big chunk of our business as well. Full disclosure there. So then one guy represents, 20 transactions.
Right.
That certainly helps. And then
How do
you
you
got to figure too,
do
a
you
lot
adopt
of,
those people? Do you adopt? Let's talk about that. Do you adopt clients? So you got a builder and you got 20 people that come in and buy that may or may not have used you guys to buy. I'm not sure. But even if they use somebody else, they came into the world that you were kind of representing. How do you adopt clients? What I mean by adopt clients, guys and gals, is you have a listing and somebody else brings a buyer. It's not always you double ending it. It's rare, right? And so then the deal closes. And so now those people are kind of free agents again. They're not going to do business for 3 to 7 years, but they're going to do business more than likely sometime between 3 and 7 years. Adopt them to be your clients now. And that's why there's that NAR statistic that so many people don't end up using the agent that they thought they're going to use, even though they loved them during the transaction, because they lose track of them over the years. So how do you go about adopting, Brandon?
So providing a good experience throughout the transaction for all parties involved is huge. And then, we've had it before where like people have bought our listings and then they've been so impressed with the marketing. We do like the 360 tours and, box brownie to make the pictures look all nice. And that's where we spend most of our money, honestly. And so people will go to sell in the future and like, oh, wow, those guys really marketed this property well, or they marketed the one down the street very well, and will use us. Other than that, just, providing really good service, giving them all the information and being available if they have questions. So it hasn't happened too often, but it's easier with new construction because, you're there through the construction process and you have more contact with them directly. And occasionally those people will reach out and want to do business or like refer us business as well, which is kind of nice. But when I'm there representing the builder, obviously I just put the builder's interest first, and anything that's beyond that is just bonus. So we don't actually double end a lot of the new construction deals, which is kind of interesting. I kind of thought that we would, but it hasn't worked out that way. So
yeah, you would think that you would. Do you have another book on the horizon?
I hope not. No, you put a lot of time and effort into these things, and certainly wouldn't write books to make money. I think a lot of it was just a passion project and wanting to put my ideas to paper. And now that I've done that, I'm really proud of what I've done, but I don't know that I would do it again. I kind of think I should have stopped after the playbook. Maybe I'd be singing a different tune if we were able to do conferences and I could actually market my newest book. But like right now, I can't. So that's really disappointing. I'm just looking at a big pile of books there, like, Also, just editing costs alone on this stuff. To do a book the right way, you need to spend some money. Get designers, get editors, proofreaders, interior designers too, to like make the page layout look nice and stuff. There's certainly people that half-ass their books, and there's plenty of those out there, but I don't. This is like an extension of me, and so I don't want to put anything out there that isn't of high quality. I did start to write a book though. So the idea of taking mindset, method, and metrics and applying it to other businesses. We started writing one for mortgage. I was going to partner with someone on that, but then it just never went anywhere. So I've got like 100 pages of notes and read every mortgage book that's out there. They're pretty terrible, to be honest.
Barry Habib does not have a good mortgage book. That's surprising. Or Fraser, right? He should be jumping all over that. All right, so let's talk about what you know. What you know is, because you do travel more than others, than most others, even more than me, I think. You will, and in the future, Inman is happening again in real life in New York in February as of right now.
That is news to me. That's exciting.
That is, yeah. There's got a
I
February.
might have to go to that.
February 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, I don't know, whatever that is, like that first week of February. So I was wondering, and I know you do a lot of stuff with Explode. He was actually going to come out to this side of the Mississippi this year. And of course that just blew apart, his conference series. But are you hearing about anybody putting dates on calendars for 2021 yet? Or is everyone still holding their breath?
Some of the states are going to do their annual conventions in like the fall. So starting to hear rumblings like looking for speakers for that, but you know, everything is always going to be tentative, of course. So in Minnesota, this coming
I was like, holy crap, that's like, okay, because California 20
a year.
No, that's right. That's what you mean, 2021. So no one's putting anything on the calendars yet that you've seen.
So I'm seeing tentative holds. How about that? So here in Minnesota, we have our 2021 coming up. I'm on the, I'll actually be the chair next year for the committee, so I can help pick out the speakers and stuff. But we had a really good lineup for this year. We had to convert it to virtual. It's kind of disappointing, but we brought in some pretty good names, and all the sessions sold out because they're like for CE. So it's like a Zoom meeting like this, but everyone had their cameras on. So you had to be like paying attention and prove that you were alert. But the speakers were really good, and you were able to get CE for that. But it was limited to like 100 to 200 per room. So that was kind of interesting.
So no real life going on, because that's for everybody who's on here. That's just telling, like, because we get in this little bubble of what's going on and what we hear. And so as we start to hear about other states, like for me, Inman was pretty exciting. I was like, whoa, New York, the Marriott in Times Square, New York is allowing an event with 5,000 people in February. That's a big deal.
That really surprises me.
That's what I was like, dude, I was like, that's a big deal.
We're like full lockdown here right now. Like, you got to wear a mask to go everywhere. Luckily, real estate was deemed essential, so like my life didn't really change too much other than I wear a mask when I go out to eat. But man, my clients, you can really tell that they have not interacted with other people in a long time. Like, one of my buyers, their kid like thinks I'm family and like asks about me all the time, which is cute. And then others, it's just like they're kind of socially awkward, which is entertaining to me. Like, oh yeah, I've just been doing my thing this whole time. Welcome back, you know.
Are you guys allowed to eat in restaurants yet? Are you still doing outdoor
dining?
If that's the case, it's going to get really damn cold for you guys, like today. Like, you should not be eating outside anymore, right?
It's 68 right now, so we're fine.
That's not bad. Okay.
But yeah, it'll get cold here soon, and then yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what happens. We've had a lot of civil unrest, and we've got some other big issues going on right now.
It is in Minnesota.
They're worse than COVID. Like, COVID is like nothing compared to the problems we're dealing with. So like, yeah, this should be interesting. I'm anxious to have things quiet back down.
But I missed it. Can you eat in restaurants or no? It's only outdoor.
Oh yeah, we can. It's like every other seat is
limited. Okay, you're about like us then. You sound almost exactly like us. Yeah, exactly. Everything's slow and all the prices are up. All right, everybody.
What I've really been doing though is supporting local restaurants. I eat out every day, so I make sure that I'm going to the local places, and the owners and the staff, they recognize that. They're like, and they definitely appreciate that. Whereas like some of these chains, they don't care about us. It's very obvious. It's like they use COVID as an excuse to just have poor customer service. And you know what? I'm over it. I'm going to spend my money elsewhere. I'm going to support people that support us and support the local community. So.
All right. All right, everybody. Questions for Brandon. We touched on a lot of different things here today. First, Brandon, do me a favor right now in the chat. You have them way more handy than me. Would you put your Amazon link 1, and then would you put your YouTube link 2? And then 3, put in the other link you feel like putting. But if you guys want to check out his books, go there. Amazon's cool, right? You get like a little preview so you can kind of check it out. At least they do on my Amazon page. I think that's like a standard. I wasn't creative enough to come up with that on my own. And then his YouTube channel is definitely something that you guys should take a look at. Smart homes confound me and confuse me. And on occasion, like when we want to get something like this, we want to get something for our Christmas tree we were talking about this year. And just like 2 weeks ago, Mel's like, well, we just got to go check out Brandon's page and figure out what the best plug is for that. He had like 97 plugs on one of his posts.
Yeah.
And he tested every single one of them or something.
It's funny because people know that, and instead of watching the videos, they just ask me anyways. And so like my messenger is just filled with people like, what's the best doorbell? And I'll either like link back to a video or I'll just tell them depending on the mood I'm in at the day. But yeah, no, I've definitely tested all of them. I used to have them all. Well, some of them are still stacked up over here. That's some of the boxes. I had them all on that display, and then my wife said to put my boxes away and put my toys away. So now they're back in that closet. There's literally a laundry basket of over 100 boxes in it, because we were shooting a new intro video. So I brought them all upstairs and put them on the kitchen table, and it was fun to see because we did a similar video a year ago, and it was like there's probably 15, 20 boxes, and now it's like you couldn't even see us. There are so many boxes. And we're like standing behind them like, oh. It was
how's the house, by the way? So everybody check this out. So he gets into the smart home thing, and I think this probably had a little bit to do with it because you're building your own house at the time.
Yeah.
So as you're building it, you're able to test everything. Right? Yeah, test everything along the way. So now you're in there and you've got your own smart home and it's been built. And geez, I want to say it's been about a year now. Is that about right that you've been inside, or is it?
Yeah, coming up on a year and a half. So
okay.
January.
Yeah. So
20.
Yeah, like he literally tested everything as the house was being built and moving in. It's really interesting if you go watch his stuff and go back and check him out. Smart homes are a wave of the future. If you guys have been working with buyers, you know that they are all HGTV, smart home, tech home envious, and they want Nests, and they want vacuums that they don't have to vacuum, and they want coffee makers they don't have to coffee maker, and they want their lights to just come on, and they want timers, and they want security, and they want all this. And smart homes are definitely going to be something that becomes more and more prevalent as we move deeper and deeper into this next decade of real estate. And I think one of the things that's not being talked a lot about right now, it almost became popular, right? It almost became like, all right, we got to really start getting into this and understanding smart homes and stuff. And then just everything hit the fan again. And I think it's kind of been forgotten. And pay attention, guys. This is like tech revolution time now that everything is hit the fan, yet we're not paying attention to smart homes anymore. So I think it's something that all agents could definitely pay attention to and learn from.
Yeah, definitely. And builders are including smart home tech with their standard builds now. Like, I'm sure you guys have Lennar out by you. They have like everything's included. And then, the products, they make really good closing gifts too. So just being knowledgeable about it and also understanding like how you should interact with them when the property is being sold. Like what is going to go with the property, what the seller will take with them, how do you get it all set up? Like sometimes I'll tour houses and I'll find houses that are like pre-wired for speakers throughout, and they've got Ethernet running to every room, and then the new owners sit in there and they've got their little Comcast motor router combo unit and they're complaining about the Wi-Fi. I'm like, dude, you have a $5,000 pre-wire setup right there. All you need to do is add this one component, the switch, to make it work. And then you can just, plug into the Ethernet in each room, and people just don't understand it. So it's kind of sad.
Yeah, totally. Like we don't get it at all, right? Like, I don't know what those wires do. They must be something important. I don't understand it.
Yeah, or like advanced theater setup, and then the person leaves, they take the equipment, and you just see in this big bundle of wires, and people are like, what's that do? They just wind them up and they like hide them behind a cabinet or something. It's like, oh man,
yep,
you should use those because that's really good stuff right there.
All right, if anybody wants to reach out to you with questions about anything that you do or have, how do they do that? What's the best avenue? Social channels, whatever that you use. that they should check you out on YouTube, obviously being one.
Yeah, I mean, smart home related, YouTube is going to be the best. Otherwise, you just email me. I shall put my email in the chat here. I stopped adding agents on Facebook. Sorry, guys. I just got overwhelmed. At some point, I had like 5,000 friends, and it just got to be too much. And so I just made a decision to trim back. And I really only got people I've met in person, like at events, and really connected with, and then a few influencers. But most of the people on my friends list are people I actually know. Like,
yeah,
they live near me.
I know like 22
it just
people
got
on
to
my
be too
Facebook.
much. So.
Yeah. All right, everybody, last chance, or forever hold your peace. Ask some questions. His information is there in the chat. And if you need him afterwards, you can always reach out to me too, and I will get you that information if you can't get it or your copy and paste goes away or whatever. Find me on social media and every place else by Dan Smith, right? BY Dan Smith. And you can find me there, and I will point you in the direction of Brandon. I strongly suggest you guys check him out. Thank you for being here today and watching. I appreciate it. Brandon, thank you, because I know for you, it's 6 o'clock back there now. So thank you for being here. Everybody, we are going to have a fantastic time at RE Forward. We've got some amazing guests, panels lined up. I'm going to be bringing a piece of content myself. I'm going to be doing a panel. I actually won't be doing an interview at this one, but I will be doing a panel of people, and I'm going to be bringing a piece of content to kick it off. I will be hosting it, so make sure you get signed up for this because it's going to be a really, really great one day.